Hey everyone! Welcome to the Wildrift Patch 3.4 analysis, where we will be discussing the different changes and how it affects the current meta. Going into the patch, the first thing that I noticed is that there's going to be two new champions that's going to be joining us, which is Gwen and Yuumi. Other patch highlights includes a game mode, items, enchants, wild pass, and a lot more. So a lot to expect on this patch. So patch 3.4, as seen in the patch preview, and as stated earlier, Gwen will be the newest champion released, which will be available right now. I think she's a Baron lane main, but could be flexed in the mid and jungle. The next champion would be Yone, Yasuo's brother, will be available next week. This should be a mid lane main, just like Yasuo, but it could be possibly flexed in the Baron and jungle as well. New features. Okay, champion scores. There will be now 5 different tiers. Each tier color icon. Score will be displayed profile page. Hover it on your profile. Will show you the top 3 champions. So I think what they did here is that you now get mastery points for each role you play. So for support, it shows your top supports, ADC, top ADCs, top mids, jungle, and top as well. So this is going to be interesting to see in your profile page, which makes your profile page look a lot better if you play a lot of roles. GVG update. So they're going to be changing the format of GVG. With GVG gun, there's still going to be guilds, trophy rack. So what's going to be happening? So there's guild missions right now. It's not GVG anymore. It's just G, which is guilds, I guess. Unless they have a new format that's going to be released. Next would be quality of life updates, ping system. Okay, interesting. So I haven't seen what they have done to the ping. Let's see when we play it in game. I can't talk about this right now. Killer banner updates. Players who get the final blow will get a banner, but often their teammates help them. So if you get a kill, there's gonna be small icons in the side, probably for those who have an assist. Then loadout system updates. You'll be granted more slots for building items when building custom loadouts. Okay, so you can do one for AP, one for AD, one for tank, so whatever. So just some quality of life changes. Wild pass. So I think this is gonna be the coolest wild pass for now because superhero Jace is just the best wild pass skin. No bias. And there's gonna be some changes as well. So once you reach level 51 in your wild pass, it's gonna be a shop wherein you could choose what rewards you want. That's basically what you have when you are able to buy the wild pass. Next, game mode. Duel, very interesting. So there's gonna be a 1v1 game mode. Not sure why a lot of people hate this game mode, but I think it's good. It helps a part of the community that wants to host 1v1 events or just want to try their mechanics. You know, there's a lot of benefits for this game mode as well. Since you don't have to go to a custom lobby, you can just queue up and possibly make your mechanics a lot better. So in order to claim victory, you have to kill an enemy champion 2 times before the shrinking circle. So I think this is gonna be very fast. So after one, spawn 8 minutes into the game, and then the circle will shrink after 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So which is you have a 1 minute 30-second window to fight each other before the map closes. Most likely this won't even last 5 minutes. Okay? Then ARAM changes, still have the rerolls. So what they changed here is that if you reached your max rerolls, you could reroll again by using Poro energy. So first would be 50, second would be 100, and third would be 200. I don't think it's worth it because with Poro energy, you could get a free skin. So I'd rather save my Poro energy for a free skin rather than using it just for rerolling. And then they have changed the ARAM titles as well. So ARAM Brawler, Warrior, Elite, Royalty, and Legend. So they made Legend the highest instead of ARAM King. Event would be Yone's arrival, which is next week. And then here are the more spicier changes. The champion changes. My favorite part of the patch run. Akali has been buffed 570 to 600, which is a 30 HP buff. Not sure why they're trying to buff Akali. They also buffed the energy gain as well. I think Akali is in a good position right now, especially with the new item coming out, which is the Rift Maker. They just want to make Akali a lot more viable, but I think she's already very, very strong in solo queue. The only problem is that you need to have high mechanics in order to use her properly. Next one would be Jace, another champion that has been buffed. Very, very frequently used in the competitive scene. Not sure why they buffed this as well. Increasing his mana recovery and decreasing the cooldown of his third skill. Making his poke a bit faster because the third skill is the acceleration rate as well as the knockback. Not the biggest buff, but still a buff overall. Doesn't do much. Jin has been buffed. No, this is a adjust. So they decreased the cast time of the second skill, making it a lot more easier to hit, but they reduced the crowd control duration. So from 2.25 to 2 seconds, which is still quite long. Kale, so she has gotten an adjustment, nerfing her passive from 24 to 21. Then her second skill has been buffed from 180 to 190, 10 HP buff. Okay. And then her third skill has been buffed, nerfed as well. So 3 damage nerf on her third skill, and her ultimate as well has been nerfed by from 65 to 80 seconds, which is quite big. But it should be reduced when you have a lot of cooldown reduction. So interesting what they said here. We're giving Kale more sustain in lane by letting it increase by 10. Alright. Very interesting. Next would be Leona. They have been buffing Leona for the past few patches. So they've buffed her again, increasing the slow and stun duration of her ultimate. I think she's already a viable pick. It's just that people don't know when to pick her or use her efficiently because she's an all-in champion. So very viable pick and big buff to her as well this patch. Samira, very, very controversial champion. She has very high highs and lower lows. When I have a Samira that's auto-filled, always feeds. But if the Samira knows how to play her correctly and she has the perfect composition with a lot of frontline to catch damage while she's able to stack properly, then she's gonna be a very, very strong champion. So they increased her HP from 570 to 610 as well as her HP scaling as well, giving her a total of 180 HP buff, which is basically a ruby crystal. Increased the damage of her passive as well from 214 to 620, and her second skill attack damage ratio, increasing it by a lot. This makes her damage a lot higher as well as becoming more durable, which is what she needs because she's very, very squishy with her crit itemization. People go Bloodthirster or even Stormraiser, which is not good for her when it comes to the survivability. She needs to rely on her lifesteal to sustain in a team fight. Next is Seth. After nerfing him a lot, they actually decided to buff him, increasing the damage of the Haymaker. Shouldn't do much. I think this is because there's gonna be the Supreme Cell set that's coming, so they decided to put a small buff onto Seth, but he should still be the same. Shyvana has been adjusted, so from bonus HP to 15% Omnivam. So people are asking if this is a buff or this is a nerf. I think this is an adjustment, and this will only be better than the HP if you're able to get at least 1.5k. So 1.5k damage. Since it's Omnivam, it works on all of your skills. If you're able to deal 1.5k damage, you should get at least 225 HP, assuming that they don't have anti-healing. So if they have anti-healing, you have to double that. So generally, I think this is going to be a nerf, but this has the potential to become a buff if the team fight goes long. Because what's nice about the Dragon form is that when you're low HP, you could outplay the opponent by using your Dragon form and you'd automatically get bonus HP, which is sometimes just enough for you to be able to get the 1v1 win. Next would be Sion. They have nerfed this champion from 6 to 5 and then from 20 to 15. So this is a nerf on his passive, which is very, very easy to stack, especially when you're hitting the Krugs. I think you get 100 HP if you clear the Krugs camp. And with that, they nerfed Sion's first skill, making his clear a lot slower from 150 to 120. And then I think there's another nerf that's happening, which is the Sunfire nerf, which I saw in the patch preview, which might affect Sion in the jungle as well, making his general clear a lot slower. His ultimate has been capped, so 800 now when on max stacks. I think this is more of a QLL change. The bigger changes is that his passive has been nerfed and his clear is a bit slower. Then Tristana actually got nerfed. Not sure why. His first skill got 13 to 18-15. Total of 2 seconds on max rank. Not much. And QL changes on her third skill, which is now priority over turrets, over minions, as well as hitting targets with the bomb. Then Varus has been buffed, so 2.5 to 3.6. So quick maths, 2.65 times 14, 37.1, 50. Oh wow, this is actually a 14 AD buff on Varus, making his mid to late game a bit stronger because Varus early game is really strong, but his mid to late game, he falls off really hard and becomes a CC bot. So good buff on Varus. Then next would be Yasuo, another buff as well, very similar to Varus, 14 AD. They just basically did the math here. Okay. So very interesting that they buffed Yasuo as well because he's still a very, very strong champion. And his scale is really good even though he didn't need this buff. Then Yuumi, I think this is one of the more interesting changes this patch. She has gotten a rework. Her passive being nerfed from 6 seconds cooldown to 9 seconds. Shield value from 35 ability power to 25 ability power. And then this is the big part. They removed the mana restoration onto Yuumi, forcing Yuumi to buy mana items like Archangel or Athene's. I think Athene's has been removed, so maybe Staff of Flowing Water. Because what Yuumi players do right now is they just build pure AP and they can easily get their mana back by just using their passive. First skill has been adjusted as well. It's a flat 2.25. It's not depending on where your attached ally is. So this has unlimited range now, as well as very easy to proc the empowered threshold. This is better because her first skill before needed teamwork. Now you don't need your ally to get close. You can just use it even though your ally gets out of range. As long as you're targeting it well, you have the chance to hit your opponent. So aside from that, they nerfed her magic damage as well from 220-30 to 220-25, 5% AP nerf. The empowered has been nerfed as well from 280-40 to 270-35. So it's a 10 damage nerf and a 5% AP nerf. Target current health also has been nerfed. I think this is the bigger one, from 10% to 7.5%. Cooldown is buffed on early levels, and then at max rank it should still be the same. Her second skill has been changed as well, another nerf. She has gotten a 2% AD nerf and a 2% AP nerf, making her stats a bit weaker. But I think this is the biggest change, which is her third skill. Mana cost is now at 110, from 15 to 110, which is quite big. I don't know the math here if this could be higher or this could be lower. I think this could be possibly lower because her max mana is a lot as well. Movement speed is now nerfed as well. So from 15%, 10%, 15%, 5%. 5% nerf. Heal value from 80, 120, 160, 200, 40% to 20, 30, 40, 50, 10%. This is huge. So from 40% to 10%. And then what they changed here is that healing now repeats the heal effect for the next 3 attacks or abilities within 5 seconds. So Yuumi now has to either use her first skill to proc this again. Not sure if the healing would work if her ally attacks, or she would need to use auto attack or her ultimate to be able to proc this 3 times. Overall, even though you're able to proc this 3 times, what you will be getting is a 150 total heal. 50 times 3 would be 150, which is still lower than her original base value. So this is a huge nerf, and these nerfs are needed because Yuumi is basically a pick and ban when it comes to the competitive meta, very OP pick, and this would help adjust the champion, forcing her to build mana items instead of pure AP, which is very OP. As you could see, they reduced all of her scaling on her kit. Because if you have an AP Yuumi, she would most probably have the most damage, even though she's playing support. Needed nerf on this champion. Next would be ARAM changes and Earth changes. You could just check it yourself. I'm more on the gameplay changes. And then here, the 3 new support items: Spectral Sickle, Harrowing Chest, Black Mist Scythe. So if you play League PC, this should be very familiar. If you don't, these are basically support items that you could buy and evolve if you're able to complete the quest. If you're more of an AD type of support, which is like Senna, this should be really good for you. Spectral Sickle, better for ranged supports. This gets you damaging abilities, grant you gold, and then you earn 50% less gold if you last hit the minion, so you should not last hit the minions if your teammate with you. So as much as possible, you'd always want to give the gold to your lane mate or your teammate. And then earn 500 gold to upgrade to Harrying Crescent. So this is good. Once it's upgraded, you would get 5 ability haste, 25 AD or 25 AP. There's one thing interesting here is that earn 100% bonus gold from nearby minions your allies don't kill. I think this could be abused because what if both of you get this item and then both of you don't CS? You'd get 100% bonus gold anyway if you don't last hit. Not sure if it's abusable, but let's see if it's something that people could do. So once it's evolved, this is just the AD support item. Fully evolved becomes Black Beast Scythe and kills assist refresh the total cooldown of your enchantments by 40%, which makes your enchantments possibly spammable during team fights when your teammates are able to get a lot of kills. So you're limited to one support item. So this is the more defensive one, 500 gold, 100 health. So if the first one was for AD, the second one is for tanks such as Leona, Nautilus. So what you need to do is that when you execute a minion below 50%, you would get additional gold. Once you reach 500 gold, it upgrades, you get more HP as well as ability haste. And then when you complete the quest again, this would evolve on the Bulwark, which is similarly granting cooldown on your enchantments by 40% when you get kills and assists. Next would be Hextech Mega Drive, RIP. They removed it from the game because this one is basically Hextech Mega Drive but a lot better. So this is not needed anymore. And then they place a new enchant, which is the Meteor enchant. If you know Redemption, the damage portion is now a different enchant. The healing portion is a now different enchant. So if you would want more damage, you go for this Meteor enchant. Target a location within 30 range after 2.5-second delay. A meteor will fall from the sky, dealing 20% of each enemy's health as magic damage. Not sure if this is maximum or current. If this is maximum, then this is going to be very, very strong. Especially if you're able to spam it in a team fight. Against monsters, it can deal a maximum of 500 damage. Again, if it's maximum health, then this is gonna be good on Baron Dragons, making you possibly steal those objectives. Unless they coded it in a way that wherein Meteor would not be able to last hit objectives. That cannot be casted when dead. Oh, this is the another difference from Redemption. New Protect Enchant. So this is designed to enhance champion abilities rather than provide an alternative venue. So this is for more the shielder type champions for like Lulu, Soraka, etc. etc. What this does when you activate is that it increases the shield and heal power of your next skill. Yep, this is the next skill only. So if it's on a low cooldown, it will grant you a lot of shields and heals. For example, Lulu's third skill or Sona's second skill, very low cooldown. And then 20 to 40 seconds is like the medium healing and shielding. I'm not sure on what champions has this type of cooldown, which is 20 to 40. But the one here is the ultimates. Usually the ultimates like Lulu Ultimate. Sorry, this doesn't work on Lulu Ultimates. This is HP. This is for Soraka Ultimate, Senna Ultimate, and those big ticket ultis that provide you shield and heal. It doesn't increase that much. If the ultimates also provided 100%, then it would be very, very OP because they already give a lot of healing. So that's why they made it 25%. So I think this is better on the low cooldown for clutch situations. For example, your ally is low. You use the Protect Enchant plus the third skill of Lulu, and it would provide a lot more shield and heal power. This is my 2 cents. So they have removed Athene's Unholy Grail. I think this is a decent item. Not sure why they have removed this. Because they place it on Imperial Mandate. Okay. So what replaced Unholy Grail is Imperial Mandate, which is a new item. What this does is that it gives you AP, ability haste, as well as HP. Then the passive of this item is that when you immobilize a champion, you would be able to mark them for 4 seconds. And if your ally champion procs that mark, it would deal an additional damage as well as 20% move speed. So this is good on champions that have a lot of crowd control, such as Nami, which her third skill, if you use her third skill on your ally would most likely be able to easily proc Imperial Mandate. This is also good if you want to play support Ashe. This is another good item as well. So very interesting item to use if you're an offensive crowd control type of champion. And Hextech Gunblade has been removed. I think what changed this is the Rift Maker. So this is Rift Maker right now. Cosmic Drive, another new AP item. This is good for those who want slows on their kit. It gives 70 ability power, 30 ability haste, 5% move speed. So what this does is that damaging active abilities and power attacks grant movement speed decaying over 2 seconds. This makes your AP champions a lot more mobile in team fights. So subsequent triggers of Spellweaver from different sources refresh the buff duration and reset the movement speed value to the maximum. Each source has a 1 second cooldown. So this is basically your mobile AP item. This is good for Akali, Gwen. It's also good for mages like Orianna who want to try and kite the opponents. The new item Rift Maker, what changed the Hextech Gunblade? It gives AP, HP, ability haste as well as Omnivamp. Then Void Corruption, unique. So what this does is that it's something that you could stack. And when you're able to fully stack this, the bonus damage will now be true damage. So basically, Void Corruption is very similar to Liandry's, where the longer the fight, the more it's favorable for you. Umbral Greave has been removed. Not a lot of people use it. RIP. Serpent Fang, new items. This is another very, very important item that has been implemented in Wildrift, wherein AD champions could get this or even bruisers. So this is good for opponents that have a lot of shields or use a lot of shields such as Karma, Senna, Set. Serpent's Fang is a perfect item, and the thing that this counters the most is Gargoyle Stoneplate. Since a lot of people like abusing Stoneplate right now, Serpent's Fang is the perfect answer for this because this reduces the shield that the Stoneplate will give. As you could see, this gives 50 AD, 12 armor pen, 10 ability haste, and this is the effect. Dealing damage to a champion injects them with a venom for 3 seconds, reducing any shields they gain. So 50% for melee, 35% for range, and if the target was not already afflicted, reducing all of their active shields by the same amount. So it's like Executioner's Calling. This is better for melee champions because it gives a 50% effect. Range champion only gets 35, but still, it's really good for those who like to abuse shields and like to buy Stoneplate. Frozen Heart getting another buff, interestingly. So from 25 abilities to 30, I think this will be used a lot more in the future, especially when we're faced with more AD heavy lineups. Ecstaly Jar, growth time from 3 seconds to 1 second. What they did here is to make it a lot more viable in team fights. For example, you want to go for a blast cone play or you want to heal yourself with a 1 second growth time. This is very good for clutch plays. Locket Enchant, very interesting change here from a generic shield to a magic damage shield. This is a big nerf. And most likely, I don't think people will buy Locket as much anymore, especially with the new enchant, the Redemption plus the Meteor. The reason why they changed the Locket enchant is because of the support items, which reduce the cooldown of your enchants by 40%. And if this was still a generic shield, this would most likely be spammed a lot during team fights, which is very annoying. So this will only be used if the opponents has at least 3 AP champions. Protector's Vow. Another buff. Is this a buff? Yep, this is a buff on Protector's Vow. So from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, 120, 20% to 120, 30%. So this is better if you're a tank champion because you would scale more. And then shield priority from closest ally to lowest health. I think this is much better because sometimes you're not beside your ADC when you're playing Brom Leona. You're in the clash, and if your ADC is getting focused, then you would not be able to provide shields. On adjustment, they removed the movement speed. I think it's okay. It's not that impactful. What's more important is the shielding that it could give because this could prevent your ADC or your carry from dying in one combo. Redemption Enchant has been changed. Remove the damage because of the comment. Delay has been reduced as well from 2.5 to 1.5. I think this is going to be a lot more powerful, especially with the support changes that are coming. If you're able to use 2 or 3 redemptions, I think maximum would be 2. But if you're able to use 3, then you would get a lot more heal. Or your team rather would get a lot more heal. Repulsor Enchant. I think this is only used by people that are against Katarina. And with that, they buffed it, which is very good. So gain movement speed for 3 seconds. This is to incentivize more people to get this enchantment. And once you're able to knock out the opponent, you would be able to move faster, makes sense. Good buff on the Repulsor enchant into incentivizing more people to get this item. Then we have here the Sunfire Cape. As I said earlier, this is a nerf on Sion as well, or a nerf on tank junglers in general, reducing that bonus damage to minions and monsters. This doesn't affect the laners as much. This is more for the junglers, such as Ramos, Sion, Nunu. This would make their clear a bit slower. Then we have the ability power item system changes. First on the list is Hunting Guys, reducing the cost, increasing the AP, but reducing the HP. They remove the unique passive, which is the increased damage the longer the team fight goes, which is a nerf on those who like to build guys and then build another item like Akali, etc. etc. Infinity Orb is a lot cheaper, increasing the AP but reducing the HP. So they made this more of a AP focused item. It doesn't give survivability anymore, which is very interesting. Then Leandra's Torment total cost is still 3,000. Basically gives the same stats, and they removed the increased damage per stack. So what they did here now is that they made this a lot better. From ability damage dealing 1% magic HP over 3 seconds, what they did here now is dealing ability damage burns enemy and take damage depending on your AP and their target max HP. So this is now a debuff rather than something that buffs you. Because before, what Liandry does is that it buffs you, it also debuffs the opponent. So they made this more in line in the League PC. Not sure if multiple Liandrys will stack, but most likely it wouldn't stack just yet. And this would make your team just want to buy one Liandry. Because if you have multiple Liandrys, you wouldn't be able to proc this on one target. Morello has been nerfed from 3k to 2.7, decreasing the AP stats, decreasing the HP as well. So very big nerf on Morello Nomicon. I think a lot of people like to build Morello first because of the stats that it can give. Because it gives survivability as well as AP. They want to make this more of a anti-heal item rather than something that you can just buy blindly. Prophet's Pendant has been nerfed by 250, buffed actually. 250 gold, increasing the AP, removing the HP, and lowering the magic penetration. I think what they want to do here is they're making AP champions a lot more squishier. Because they remove the HP here, they remove the HP here, they also remove the HP on the Infinity Orb. So Rabadon's Death Cap has been reduced as well. What Riot is doing here is they're making AP items a lot more accessible, but this would nerf them when it comes to the late game. So even though you're able to get them early, your total AP when you go for the fourth or fifth item would be a lot lower, and your survivability as well, because a lot of AP items don't give HP anymore. This is very interesting as well because passive is now in the Riftmaker. Because if you read the Riftmaker, the longer you're in combat, the more damage that you deal. So this could be combined. You could go for Liandry's plus Riftmaker, which is a possible combination. Especially for those AP assassins like Diana, Gwen, and Akali. Rune changes. Revising the tooltip, so they just made it Omnivamp. Then minions. Interesting change. Leashing has always been difficult to balance around. So we're aiming to make leashing less viable. Oh no! Jungle nerf! So first minion and Baron and Dragon Lane gains movement speed. So what Riot wants to do here is they don't want to make leashing a thing, and they want to make the laners focus on their lane. Well, as a jungler, I don't rely on leashes, but this is gonna be a lot harder for those who are starting in the jungle and for those who like to depend on leashes. Your BRR dear lane now has to sacrifice CS if they really want to leash their jungler, which is not ideal. Because if they get back behind in lane, then it's gonna be very, very hard for them. Omnivamp is now truly Omni. So it will now work through damage. Oh, this is good. So this is good on champions that build Omnivamp, such as Olaf. So if you're able to get full stacks on Olaf, you have your third skill, then you will get lifesteal from your third skill as well. This also works on Riftmaker because if Riftmaker you're able to last in combat, then you're gonna deal true damage, and when you get true damage with your Riftmaker, you will get lifesteal as well. Then passive gold has been nerfed. This is a good nerf because if supports would still have this and they have their support item as well, then they get a lot more gold and probably have more gold than a carry. So this is a good change wherein they removed the mechanic where the player with the least gold will get more passive income. Scry's Bloom has also been nerfed. So from 25 to 45, this is good for junglers because annoying laners would clear the wave, then hit the Scryer's Bloom, then see where you're starting, and then sometimes you would get punished from it, and it's very annoying if the Scryer's Bloom would know where you would start. So this is good if you're a jungle main. And then Smite, to prevent scenarios where the player smites the wrong target during key fights over objective. Smite will prioritize epic monsters while casted by a quick sweep or flick. This makes you use Smite a lot faster. So that's all, I think. So skins, only 2 new skins, Space Crew Gwen as well as Crystal Yuumi, which is gonna be their first skin when released. So new accessories, extra bits. Annie will now begin with full stacks. Oh, okay, this is good. For level 1 invades, you don't have to stack it anymore. Updated Soraka's empowered Star Call. Adjusted rules and loadouts. Okay. Various check strings. The one major, you'll no longer be able to say you can purchase your Infinity Edge that's available to purchase. Interesting. Fix the issue when a Samira S combo would disappear while triggering and always be able to use. Oh, they fixed the bug. The Samira bug, which is good to know. The most interesting change that I saw would be the new champions, Gwen Yone, as well as the ability power changes. So very interesting to use Driftmaker on junglers. Not sure if it's gonna be good on Echo, Gragas, etc. Something that I want to try. And Yuumi, RIP Yuumi, you will be missed. So that is it. If you have any insight or any comment or anything that I missed, feel free to comment down below. I would love to see your reactions as well. And hopefully you guys enjoyed our video. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Ciao, ciao.